Jungle.
Alright, so it's 30 minutes past 9. I welcome you to another exciting edition of From the Newspaper, streaming live from the premises of the AC's Hotel, IBADAN. Good morning to you all. We are listening to MFM Radio and TV. This is MFM Radio and TV 97.3, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And don't forget, you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM Radio and TV. And as you're watching us, do well to like, comment, and share. And don't forget, this program is in form of 3 segments. The first segment is the weather forecast report of 3 major cities in Nigeria: the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the commercial city of Lagos, and the vibrant city of Ibadan, where we are transmitting live from. Where the second segment on the show is the headlines, make round of Nigerian newspaper. And always bring 4 newspapers to you every morning: the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and the Nigerian Tribune. Where the last segment on the show is the details to the headlines. My name is SHAQEEROH AKINYEMI. To the first segment of the show, which is the weather forecast report. And the first city I'll bring in on this morning is the Federal Capital Territory. At 10 a.m. in Abuja this morning, it's cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. it's mostly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. it's intermittent clouds with 27 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. it's partly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. it's partly sunny with 29 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 30 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 29 degrees Celsius, and at 7 p.m. it's mostly clear with 27 degrees Celsius. At 8 p.m. it's clear with 26 degrees Celsius, and at 9 p.m. it's clear with 25 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. it's clear with 25 degrees Celsius, and at 11 p.m. it's clear with 24 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
At 10 a.m. in the commercial city of Lagos this morning is thunderstorms with 27 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. it's mostly cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. it's cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. it's cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. it's cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. it's mostly cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. it's mostly cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. it's mostly cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 6 p.m. it's cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. it's cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius, and at 8 p.m. it's cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. it's cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius, and at 10 p.m. it's cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 11 p.m. it's cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. To the last city on the first segment, which is the vibrant city of Ibadan. At 10 a.m. in Ibadan this morning, it's cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. it's cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. it's cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. it's cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. it's cloudy with 32 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. it's cloudy with 32 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. it's cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. it's mostly cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius, and at 6 p.m. it's cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. it's cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius, and at 8 p.m. it's cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. it's cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius, and at 10 p.m. it's cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
Moving on to the second segment of the show, which is the headlines make round of Nigerian newspaper. And the first newspaper I'm bringing on this morning is the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning says, May 29, Tinubu to reveal ministers' scorecard, and page 2 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there is one right there to that story that says, President may get Minister's new assessment report this week. Low-performing ministries under pressure. And page 2 has the details to that story. And above the line of Punch newspaper says traditional council. Punch newspaper under story says federal government to auction 753 duplexes, says from Emefiele, and page 31 has the analysis to that story. To the Vanguard newspaper. The latest story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says NAS budget disagree over 6.93 trillion naira project in budget 2025, and page 5 has the analysis to that story.
Audio Jungle.
There are 3 riders to that story. The first rider says our NAS inserted 122 projects budget, says bodies. Another rider says 2025 appropriation bill interrogated, passed based on excerpts amount presented, says Senate. And the last rider says NAS has power to amend budget, says reps, and page 5 has the analysis to that story. Vanguard newspaper says UTME results due to human error, not technical glitch, says reps, and page 9 has the details to that story. Disco's performance in power supply is disappointing, states federal government, and page 19 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Another story on Vanguard newspaper says Time magazine names Aliko Dangote among top 100 philanthropists worldwide, and page 26 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Five Southeast governors with Tinubu, and page says Umar, and page 8 tells the details to that story. How I begged Yaradra not to fight Obasanjo, says Lamido, and page 13 has the details to that story.
bullets killed WAEC student during chase in Ibadan. In page 7 has the details to that story. Story on the Vanguard newspaper says 2.9 million Nigerian children suffering from severe malnutrition, says UNICEF, and page 13 has the details to that story. The next story on the Guardian newspaper says NPC seeks fiscal support on Naira stability, retain interest rates at 27.5%, and page 6. Another story says ICPC bought bank account of 6 weeks bachelor's degree racket, and page 3 has the details to that story. Uncovers 11,122 projects worth 6.93 trillion naira inserted into 2025 budget, and page 5 has the details to that story. We are sacrificing quality for quantity, with universities' prolification says, and page 7 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
State government clarifies water sachet, PET bottles not included in single-use plastic ban. In page 7 has the details to that story. Gateway 2025, over 10 million are direct clothes sold in 10 days, says Olabade. In page 7 has the details to that story. Guardian newspaper, another story says ECOWAS at 50. Gowon restates Nigeria foreign policy. Trust as Akpabio urges unity, stability. And page 5 has the details to that story. Tomorrow escalates with Southeast faction at holdover secretaryship. In page 6 has the details to that story. Umari affirms Southeast governors support for Tinubu's second term bid. In page 29 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And last story on the Guardian newspaper says federal government to dispose 753 housing units linked to Emefiele. In page 5 has the details to that story.
last newspaper on the second segment, which is Nigerian Tribune. And the latest story on Nigerian Tribune says, federal government to sell 753 units housing estate recovered from Emefiele. In page 2, how the details to that story. Two riders to that story. The first rider says EFCC hands over estates to Ministry of Housing. The last rider says Senate proposes separate agency to manage assets seized by EFCC, ICPC, Customs and other. And page 2 has the details to that stories. Retain lending rates at 27.50%. and page 6 has the details to that story. There are two riders to that story. The first rider says expresses concerns about recent decline in crude oil price. The last rider says reassure public on banking sector stability. And page 6 has analysis to that stories. Says compulsory voting bill unconstitutional draconian, says NBA. And page 4 has the details to that story. And there's a rider to that story that says tells NAS to discontinue process. And page 4 has the details to the story. Rescued 10-year-old boy from child traffickers, organs harvesters, and there's one rider to that story that says suspect arrested. And page 3 has the details to that stories. Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway tolling begins December, says Umahi. And page 13 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there is one rider to that story that says all Southeast governors support Tinubu. And page 13 has the details to that story. Magazine names Dangote as world top 100 philanthropist. And page 4 has the details to that story. Has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there's one rider to that story that says lawmakers from Oyo Town staged walkout. In page 13 has the details to that story. Alright, so we have come to the end of the second segment. Before we divert into the last segment, let's go on a break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
You are listening to the #1 radio station, Him FM, the station that is projecting the truth.
Ǹjẹ́ ti gbọ́ nípa iléeṣẹ́ àdùnbádùwò iléeṣẹ́ olùfọkàntán iléeṣẹ́ Star Mike Multimedia Concept tó ń jẹ fẹ́gbẹ́ tó gbà wò níbi ká máa ṣe àwọn ohun ẹ̀bùn lọ́kànjọ̀kan bíi àwọn ohun amúnúléwu ìwòdò ń wò bíi frame throw pillow customized wardrobe mọ́ọ̀gì tó ṣe kò tí ì gbóná láti fi jóńgẹ̀ ẹ̀ náà rẹ́yìn towel customized cap t-shirt pen àti àwọn iṣẹ́ printing mìíràn lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan iléeṣẹ́ Star Mike Multimedia Concept ló wà ní ojú ọjà Mọ́kọ́lá ní ìlú Ìbàdàn ẹ lè pè wá sórí 08071486599 08131931183 tàbí ẹ kàn sí wọn lójú òpó ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ti Facebook ọ̀pádùnkún Samuel lórí Instagram @ostarmike àti lójú òpó X @ostarmike. Star Mike Multimedia Concept àgbèrò rẹ̀ ṣíṣe dọwọ́ tiwa.
Fresh, I begin on, I be content, yeah.
ọ̀rẹ́ mi gbà mí gbogbo àwọn ọ̀lẹ́kùn ilé mi ló ti dóògùn kódà gbogbo àwọn táìsì tí ń bẹ nílé mi kò wúwo lójúmọ́.
ibo ló ti rà á.
ṣé nígbà àwọn kan ti ń tàlẹ́ ìgbọ́n lọ.
o ti sọ wọ́n gbowó tó o ti gbọ́n pa ilé ìtajà Starland Homes Wear Enterprise ó kù nígbà àwọn gùdù. ilé ìtòdojúkọ ilé ìfowópamọ́ Keystone Bank agbègbè àbáyọ̀mí ìwòrò nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́ sí àwọn ilẹ̀kùn ayẹta àwọn táìsì tí ó gbóòórùn iyì àti ẹwà bá ilé àwọn àgbà omi lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan níbi ṣíìtì eléyìí tí ó gbé àwòrán ilé jáde àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ gbogbo rẹ̀ ló wà lójú kan náà lọ́dọ̀ Starland Homes Wear Enterprise fún gbogbo kọ́lékọ́lé àti àgbàlékọ́ gbogbo àwọn ohun èlò ilé eléyìí tí ó sọ ní èrè di àwòdání ẹnu ọ̀dọ̀ Starland Homes Wear Enterprise ló yá àkàsí ẹ pè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 0708-760-5119 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 0708-760-5119 Starland Homes Wear Enterprise fún ojúlówó àwọn èròjà ilé tó ní owó lójú.
ìgbà tó tó gbá ní í ṣe baálé ọba gbọ́migbọ́mi kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó tún kọ̀ǹkọ̀ ní í ṣe ọba wọn lálẹ́ odò bó jẹ́ tìròyìn tó kojú owó orin tó dùn ún gbọ́ létí àṣà ẹ̀fẹ̀ àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan ìkànnì MFM rédíò ọba ló jẹ́ láwùjọ rédíò.
gbogbo náà gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ ní gbọ́ tọba wọn fẹ́ gbọ́ mi dára tó o sì fẹ́ máa rí ọ̀hún dára AFM and TV oníkọ́ ọmọ tọba ti débẹ̀ gbogbo ní kíbi lórí social media wà bá wọn pàdé wo mọ̀jẹ̀ tán mọ̀jẹ̀ kébi kò gbé ọ̀tún àbáyé o èmi ni ó ṣe o ìdí mo sọ yìí òní ọgbọ́ AFM and TV iléeṣẹ́ tó ní àbá àdéjẹ́ àgbà ló kọ̀ mí o sàlámù alẹ́.
ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi lọ́kùnrin àti lóbìnrin lọ́mọdé àti lágbà orúkọ mi ni olóyè Dr. Lérè Pàímọ́ Ìdánilọ́lá mẹ́fà mo ń fi àsìkò ìròyìn wípé kẹ́ máa gbọ́ FM radio and TV nígbà gbogbo torí pé ẹ máa kọ́gbọ́n bẹ̀ ẹ máa nímọ̀ ẹ máa lóye gbogbo ìgbà tí tẹ́ fi ń gbóhùn nídìí ojú tẹ́ fi ń wọ̀n gbé fọ́ ẹ máa gbọ́ wọn ẹ máa ṣe iṣẹ́ tí yín náà ní díṣẹ́ mọ́ ẹ lọ́wọ́ ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ mo dúpẹ́ àti.
So welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM Radio and TV. And as I was shown, Unit is raising to present him a fresh set of ministerial scorecard. Multiple presidential sources told the Punch on Tuesday. The scorecard will focus on the performance of the various ministries for the first quarter of 2025 as Tinubu administration entered the midterm of May 29. The CDCCU, an agency under the presidency responsible for assessing ministers' performance, quarterly is currently verifying performance reports of the various government ministers and assigning them score, the official added. Sources familiar with the exercise said the ministry uploaded evidence to project and policy milestones to secure CDCU a portal last month. Since then, a verification team led by the unity's head, Hadiza Bala Usman, has been poring over the submission and assigning score against the performance board ministers signed at the October 23 cabinet retreat. The official who chose to speak on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to talk about the matter disclosed that Bala Usman is working to transmit the report to the president's desk as soon as possible. Asked about the assessment of some prominent cabinet members, as an insider described the performance of many ministers as average, noting that only a few of them score above the average. Even though the president is not expected to take any immediate action, up-to-date information on the performance of the cabinet member, the information source said, will also help the president to engage some of his cabinet members or ministers on area of improvement when necessary. At the ongoing of the 3 days cabinet retreat for the ministers, presidential aides, permanent secretaries, and top government functionaries on November 1, 2023, President Tinubu said ministers in his cabinet would wholly retain their offices based on performance, which would be revived quarterly. The CDCU dossier was credited with informing a shake-up that led to a swapping of portfolios and resulted in removal of 2 underperforming ministers after 16 months in office. The CDCU was established in June 2023 when Tinubu appointed Bala Usman, a former managing director of Nigerian Port Authority, as a special advisor on policy and coordination. Modeling on similar delivery units in the United Kingdom and Rwanda, it mandated it to raise its track key performance, indicating NPP's National Publicity Secretary, Ladipo Johnson, called for a cabinet reshuffle. At the same time, the Labour Party Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, urged All Progressive Congress-led federal government to do more in addressing the issue of insecurity and economic hardship. Reacting to cost of living crisis resulting from Tinubu's sharp economic reform, the PDP said Tinubu's performance of the minister reflects President Tinubu's leadership, and the details of the news is on Punch newspaper. Immigration rallies joint task force against terror threats. The Comptroller General of Nigeria Immigration Service, Kemi Namdab, has disclosed that the agency in intensifying efforts of fighting Nigeria border, particularly maritime, fund threats to combat terrorism, piracy, and other transitional crimes. Namdab made this known on Tuesday at the opening ceremony of Regional Workshop of Maritime Border Security, organized by NIST in Abuja. The workshop assigned team maritime security in the context of counter-terrorism in the Gulf of Guinea. She noted that the strategic gathering reflects by the collective commitment of West and Central African nations to gently tackle a range of maritime threats, including piracy, terrorism, illicit arms flow, women trafficking, stowaway, and migrant smuggling. NAFTA emphasized that the NIS plays a crucial role in preventing foreign terrorist fighters. While declaring the workshop open, the Maritime of the Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, condemned the NIS for taking the lead of reviewing Nigeria's border security strategy. He underscored the importance of border control in ensuring the nation's safety and affirmed the federal government's readiness to make true decisions to secure the country's territorial integrity. The event drew participation from the security and intelligence officials from across Africa and beyond, including Italy, Germany, Britain, Denmark, the Philippines, Mauritius, Cameroon, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, Togo, Sierra Leone, and Sao Tome and Principe. And the details of the news is on Punch newspaper. to finance infrastructure projects in the state. The news agency on Nigeria reports that the bond was approved during the plenary session in Minna on Tuesday, following its review by the House of Committee on Finance, which presented its report to the House. Chairman of the committee, Aliyu Ushishi, said the bond request was part of the planned 100 billion naira private bond issuance for 10 years. The House unanimously adopted the committee recommendation and approved the request of its report. The Speaker of the House, Abdulmalik Sharik Daji, directed the clerk of the House to transmit the formal approval of the executive. Now recall that the bond House on May 15 during its plenary session preceded by the Afiniki Dauda, Deputy Speaker, read the executive correspondence announcing Bango's desire to seek the bond program. In the letter to the House, the governor disclosed that the bond issue aimed to finance critical projects in healthcare, education, infrastructure, water supply, and inter- and intrastate connectivity, and details of the news on Punch newspaper. Investor partner to build Abia Stadium City. Abia State Governor Alex Uti has expressed the readiness of the administration to partner with private investors to build a proposed Abia Stadium City to create a better future and boost the economic of the state. Uti spoke on Tuesday when he received a team of development partners led by the managing director, Irish Development Group, Mr. Hingil Nelly, who came to present a master plan of the proposed Abia Stadium City in his office. The governor said his administration has been on the stadium project and is looking for who not only have the capacity to deliver but are willing to invest in Abia. He added that he believed with the private sector involvement, such as a gigantic project, could be achieved while its sustainability would be guaranteed even beyond its tenure in office. Investment and allow the rest to be owned by the private investors. He said that what is needed for both government and development partners team sit and work out the details of the project. The governor further assured all that power would not be a problem for the project and its administration, is including plans to build a Umani ring. Speaking while making a presentation of the master plan of the project, development partner and managing director, Irish Development Group, IDG, Mr. Nigi Newley, said that the proposed Abia Stadium City to be located on its 96 acres expanse of land in Humahia, represented by a bold of forward-looking initiative design to reposition Abia State as a premier destination for support, tourism, business, and recreation. He said that the project is anchored on the creation of a world-class, multifunctional sports and entertainment complex that will serve the region and attract global attention. According to him, the structure for the proposed Abia Stadium includes stadium and sports zone, game village and high performance, training center, residential district, smart housing, offering modern tech integrity living space for residents and visitors, hospitality and tourism zone with a hotel, escort among others. The Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Sanwo-Dilo Nwadima Ananaba, and the Commissioner of Finance. The bill, which passed its second